are installing the door handles, all of the handles into the door panel. And I just wanted you guys to see how tiny these things are. Now I'm going to put up the instruction step that shows you exactly what I'm doing, so you guys can follow along with me. Have to be very, very careful how you cut it. They have beautiful chrome. I mean, I really, really like the chrome on this kit. And for the most part, the attachment points are all in areas that you're not going to see the gates for the parts, so that it's very minimal how much chrome damage that there may be when you cut them off the sprues. Alright, so now we're looking for E4. Okay, E1, E4 goes right there. There we go. You can see what a tiny little thing we're working with. Can't drop these. It's making the attachment point as flat as possible. There we have. Nope. Okay, now E4 goes right there. That's facing towards the back. Now we want to try and keep them similar to what we have on the other door. And that's where E4 is going to go right there. Use our toothpick, and we're just going to drop a small drop of super glue in the cavity where it goes. Okay, now E4 faces toward the rear of the vehicle. Right there, just a slight downward slant. There we go. And E4 is done. Now we need E5. Now, as you may figure, dealing with these tiny little parts is nerve-wracking to say the least. E5 is in the front of the car. Now, okay, so we're going to put E5 right there. It's going to be facing slightly upward. And there we have the 3 handles on the rear. Woo! And here we have all of our handles installed. Yeah, it is a little nerve-wracking, but it's kind of cool when it's done. And there we have everything done. Now, we did lose a little bit of chrome on these handles here, as I noticed that while handling them too much, some of the chrome will rub through. It's a very thin layer of chrome. It's a very nice, smooth layer, but it's very thin. So we're going to have to touch those up with some Molotow chrome. We'll just leave them like that. They look a little more realistic that way. I don't know. I'll have to decide when I'm done. Okay, now we're going to start a little bit of polishing work on here. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do it. If you followed my channel, you'll already have seen some of this, so I hope it's not going to bore you guys too much. Now, the first thing I do is I go over the entire painted surface. It's already been painted and clear coated with 3000 grit paper, because I want to sandpaper, because what I want to do is flatten the paint as much as possible. And the way you can tell it's flattened is that when you're done, you have an even dull shine to the paint. Any place where you see any shiny remnants is just some place where you're going to have to work a little bit more to make sure you flatten out the paint, because any shine that remains, any really shiny areas, those are low spots in the paint. But you want to be careful that you don't go through your clear coat. Now, I know everybody says that you can't get a really good shine from a spray can. I tend to disagree with that, as I think you can get just as good a shine from a spray can as you do from an airbrush. Just that with the spray can, it may require a little more work, as you're going to have to do a little more surface prep before you polish. Now, I started with a 3000 grit paper sanding sponge. Now I'm going to reach over for my 4000 grit, if I can get it out of the little container here. Now we're going to 4000, and we're going to wet sand with 4000 to polish out what we just did. Now you're going to move to the higher grit, because this is going to help remove any scratches that you may have laid in there with the previous grit. In which case it's going to flatten out your paint even more, which is going to result in a better shine. Also, if you have any dust in your paint or any debris in there, this is a good opportunity to remove all of that through your sanding. And a lot of times you can fix a lot of errors just by sanding properly, which will show in the final polish. And as you can see, the reflection of the light will start to get sharper and sharper as you move up in grit, because you're smoothing out the paint more and more. And then the final step is going to be to compound the body. to our 8,000 grit. Now, this is where I take a slightly different approach to it than a lot of people, whereas I find that if you don't use water on these really fine grits, it acts more as a buffing pad than a sanding pad. And I think it gives you a much smoother finish, as now you're actually buffing the paint out. As when you think about it, these really high grits, the 8,000 or 12,000, are not really sanding as more than they are polishing. And you'll find that as you rub it, you really start to see the shine start to come back. And I think that using it as a buffing pad as opposed to having the water be a medium that reduces the effectiveness of these really high grits, I think that's what slows down a little bit your process. As you can see here, you can see how the shine is really starting to come back. Now, this is what works for me. If you want to wet sand using these, that's fine too. But I have found that this is what gets me my best results, as I'm really buffing out the paint at this point. Now we're going to go to our 12,000 grit and repeat the process all over again. Like I said, I am not going to take you guys through every piece because you'll be bored out of your minds by the time I'm done. So I'm just going to show you this part of the body, and then I'm going to go ahead and do everything else off camera. But you can see here how we have a really nice shine coming back already. And we haven't even done any polishing with our polishing compounds yet. This is all just in the sanding and the buffing out of the paint. There we go. I think we've got a really nice polishing done there. Now, our next step is we're going to apply some compound. Now, I like to use this Tamiya polishing compound. I haven't used the Novus 2, which I've heard a lot of good things about. And I do have some on order. So that'll be one of our future projects. We'll be trying that. It looks like I'm going to have to definitely order some more because I'm running out. I do believe I have a second tube of this somewhere. There we go. Here we go. Go to the last drop. Now we are going to apply a couple of drops of compound there. Then what I'm going to do is use my Keshi rotary tool. You guys have seen this before, my handy dandy Keshi rotary tool. First thing I'm going to do is just rub it into the paint. And then we're going to, this is where it gets a little messy. Now we're just going to start polishing out the paint. Now, I use this Keshi rotary tool because it is a low speed rotary tool and a lot less likely to burn through paint. I tried using a Dremel once and I went right through the paint. Yeah, that kind of sucked. Now we just have to make sure we get all the edges so that we have a nice even shine. And now you can see it's got a beautiful finish. Which, technically speaking, it really shouldn't have this shiny of a finish because the paints of the time were not what they are now. But considering this is in the story of this car, it's a car that was found in a barn and in the Ukraine and decided to be brought back to life. Now, take a look at that. Now that is beautiful. And we're not even done yet, as I've still got quite a bit more to go as far as the polishing. But that there, you can see how it came right to life. Now, let's take a look at this side here compared to this side here. And you can see what a difference there is. It is a beautiful finish. After I'm done, I always give it a little buffing out with my Tamiya cloths, just to remove any of the residue. And here we have a beautiful, beautiful finish. Alright. Now we're going to continue to go with this for the other side before we move on to the next step. So we're going to repeat this and just hang out. Okay guys, now we see what 2 applications of the Tamiya fine polishing compound can do for you. Now we're going to use, now we're going to use their finishing compound. Now, one thing I recommend is that you keep 2 applicator pads handy. You're going to be using one to apply the compound, and then after you've thoroughly applied it, you're going to be using another one to remove the compound you just applied. Alright, now we're going to start applying their polishing compound, the finishing. And as good as it looks, it really makes a difference applying the finishing compound, because it really, you would think, hey, it looks fine, you're not going to get any better than that. Oh, yes you will. Now we're going to use our cleaner pad. Oops. Clean it out and really bring out that shine. You can also use these Tamiya applicators, which I really like, to rub it right into the paint, saving you a little bit of work with the Keshi tool, since the battery life is kind of limited. It's a great rechargeable tool, but not the longest battery life. Oh, now that is the kind of shine that I'm looking for. Right there. I can even see myself in it. Now, the deepness of the shine will depend on how many applications you want to give it of this finishing compound. I'm very happy with the way with where it is now. As you can see, that looks amazing. Not to say that I won't give it another shot maybe a little bit later, but for now I think I've got it right where I want it. There we go, guys. That's how you polish paint, and that's from a spray can, this finish. You see the reflection of the light in it? It's a very sharp reflection. Don't let anybody tell you that a spray can can't give you an excellent finish. I'm not knocking airbrushing, as I really like airbrushing now. Not that I'm an expert at it or anything, but don't let anybody tell you that you can't get a good finish from a spray can. Alright, gonna polish out the last fender here. And then I think that'll be it for this portion of our build, as there's a lot of polishing left to do. And like I said, I don't want to bore you guys with that too much. I've shown you the process. That I use, and you see the results for yourselves. And if you want to follow that process, that's fine. If you guys have another way of doing it, that's fine too. I mean, let me know in the comments. Might be an idea that I like better than this one. So let me know. Until then, we're just gonna keep on polishing. Alright guys, here we go. Yes, there is a little run in the paint. Not horribly noticeable, but I know it's there, and it bugs me a little bit, but overall, it looks really good. And I am very happy with this finished result. Really polished out nice, and now we can go on ahead with the next step in this chassis, which is going to be to lay the carpet. So you want to stay tuned for that one. Here's a little look at one other part that I polished out tonight. As you can see, it's got a mirror-like shine to it. Just proof that, yeah, even from a spray can, you can get an excellent finish. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this video. We're going to come back in the next one where we'll be talking about carpeting and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come on back, and I'll see you on the next one.